How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Side Hustle Heroes HQ podcast. I'm Andrew,
I'm Jim Ed.
and today we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up some of the Amazon influencer stuff that we've been talking about. One of the main things, probably the most important thing, is getting those first 3 videos that you submit approved. That is critical. We've seen a lot of people getting tripped up. We continue to see people getting tripped up on that, so we're going to talk about that today. And then secondly, we're going to talk about obviously our numbers as usual. And then the third thing is going to be talking about side hustles in general. Why should you have them? What are some good things about them? What are some bad things about them? So we're going to go into some details there. And then also along those lines, a big thing happened to me personally over the last week. So we're going to talk about that. It could be good. It could be good, but we'll find out. It could be good news, but we'll certainly find out what's going to happen there. So it could be a very good opportunity for myself. All right, cool. So Jim Ed, let's start with your numbers.
All right, so $44 for what was reported today. The day before was $189. Before that was $69. The day before that, $42. $105, $96, and $89. So I've been kind of, for the most part, hovering above a 50, or so. Had that one good day of $189. Last 7 days was $635 is the total. And I am trending at about a little better than $2,500 for the month, but I'm hoping that kind of goes up a little. We're at the time of the year where people are going on vacation. They don't have as much stuff coming to their house. So kind of expected that. Once the summer's kind of moving to the middle, it's probably going to hit this again, people getting in last-minute vacations before school starts back. But, that's kind of where we're at. What about you, Andrew? What'd you get?
I was going to say, first of all, it's nice to see you humbled a little bit, because when you're at $6,000, I was pretty happy for you, but it was getting a little much.
I hardly could get into the room, right? With my big head.
Exactly. Yes, I've been pretty consistent. So consistency is good. I haven't been uploading a lot lately. However, I'm going to start uploading. In fact, I got about 10 videos done yesterday, so I'm pretty excited. I'm going to get those uploaded soon. I'm about 194. It seems to be pretty consistent. I've been between 170 and 190 over the last 7 days. Let's just look at my 30-day numbers here. Yeah, it's about 768. So last 30 days. So pretty happy. I mean, I want to hit 1,000 for sure. In fact, I want to hit 2,000 or 3,000 if I can. That's the goal. But anyway, this money is nothing to shake a stick at. That's something that I think $768 is a lot of money. It can do a lot of things. So I have to remind you guys that this is big, and his money is even bigger. Think about it's probably 3 times what I'm making, right? So we're not comparing. We joke around about comparing, but we're at different situations. We have different amounts of time. That's you're gonna find yourself as well. Don't comparing yourself to others can be good in a lot of ways, but just remember you get in what you put out. Sometimes, however, I've heard people say I have 100 videos up. I'm only making $500 a month. It's like, it depends. So be smart when you choose videos. There is a science to it, and that's why we're doing this. It sounds easy on the surface, right? Amazon influencer, the way you do these things, it's pretty simple, but there's a lot to it. That's why we devoted. This is the 5th podcast we've done. Yeah, that's really cool, man. A lot of people don't even get past 1 or 2. What's the stats? Most like 97%?
Like 95, 96% of the people who start a podcast never make it to episode 20.
Yeah. And this is sort of a motivation test. We're going to hit 20 absolutely. Okay. And I think whatever motivates you, right? So I was listening to this a little bit, and we can talk about this in a side hustle section here, but I want to just mention that it's so much about just doing it, having goals set for yourself. If you don't have a goal set, how many videos you want to upload a week or a day or a month, whatever, you're not going to hit it most likely.
Can I speak to that a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
My goal in this whole thing was like, and your goals change as you go along, but I started getting some good numbers. Like, wow, if I could hit $3,000 a month, that's a nice house payment. If I could hit $3,000 a month, I'd be like, wow. And then I've exceeded that. Now I look, and Andrew kind of follows a guy online apparently that's done 13 or 15K a month.
Yeah, he's at 15K now.
And it's like, the only reason I'm not at 15K is because I've got 185 videos up, not 685 videos up. So I definitely see that it could be done. And we're going to talk a little bit about this in the podcast later. There are some limits to what you can do. If I was a single dude and I worked 20 hours a week, I could probably get to 600 videos sooner than later. But I've got a family, I've got a job, I've got other responsibilities and obligations that I just can't get to where I can't get to that as fast as I'd like to. But I definitely think it's there. You said it's not easy. I agree, it's not. You got to do the work. But the work's not that hard, and if you just kind of keep doing it, it's there, at least for now.
Yeah, there's so many things that, working out is a perfect example. You see the benefits of it. It takes a while, but working out, whether you're lifting weights or doing cardio, it's not easy. You get up there at 5 a.m. in the morning or something. It's hard. It's so much easier to not do it. But that's the same thing with this. Everything at some point, you have to kind of push past that. I know I mentioned this last week, when you have a job, you have to do something. That's kind of a motivation because you're getting paid to do it. And if you don't do it, guess what? There's ramifications. Same thing with this. You have to motivate yourself. And I think if anything, have someone that's holding you accountable for these things. Accountability is important probably in all aspects of your life to keep you motivated. So, all right, let's get into the getting approval for the first 3 videos. Last week we mentioned the whole social media platforms. Don't really have that much new information about that. I think the more I hear about this, just to circle back to that, it's 2,000 or 3,000 is probably a bare minimum. How long the platform's been up is important. If you take an old platform and you repurpose it, just make sure, if it's a brand new platform, just social media account, just make sure that you're adding a lot of content to it to bring it to life. There's going to be a lot more of a microscope on a brand new account versus an account that's been around for a while that has lots of posts. So just keep that in mind. That's really important. In fact, the reason I'm bringing this up is it can very well affect you getting approval for these 3 videos.
So I agree there. We've been helping a few people, so we're kind of seeing this again. We're trying to help some friends along get up to status where they can upload videos. We've been working with a few new people that are already at that status, and they have uploaded 3 new videos. And Jimmy, for instance, he uploaded his 3 videos this week, and all 3 got rejected. And even Andrew and I looked at the first one, and we didn't really see anything on it. My opinion, and I want to see what you think, I think they're getting a little more strict, and I'm going to say a little, maybe a lot more strict on really scrutinizing over these videos. Initially, they launched this program 2 years ago. I guess it seems like it's really changed a lot because we just got in it to a degree. We got in it at the first of the year. So
even the last few months, it's changed a ton.
Yeah.
There's been an influx of people for sure.
Yeah, so now that people are kind of driving to it, people are discovering it, I think they're going, okay, well, we're getting what we need review-wise. Now we're just going to be like really wanting the cream of the crop in there. So just kind of keep that in mind. And are we going to talk about that now, or we want to get a little... Okay. So what we've been seeing is a couple of things. The guys that did the video did excellent videos, number one. Really covered the product well. We watched their first video to kind of make sure that they didn't do anything real obvious, mess something up, say something in there you were not supposed to. And we're going to go into detail towards the end of the podcast a little bit more on some don'ts that you can't do.
No, we're talking about this right now.
Okay. So
I got a list of things. So just say what you're going to say now, then I'll go through the list.
One of the main things that we're seeing, though, is just being new at this, the people that are doing it, they're wanting to really put out a good video. They're wanting to cover everything that they can cover to make the best review possible, and that is great.
Yeah.
But, we were kind of talking about it before the podcast, and it's like, really, they need to do a good video, get in and get out. We don't need a 4-minute video on these first 3 to get approved. We need a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe, something in there, probably that sweet spot. You don't want it like crazy short. I would say 45 seconds too short, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably so.
I'd go
minute to 2 minutes is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
And my wife always reminds me, less is more, right? You've got the sale. Like I'm talking, it's like, I got it. We'll go to this restaurant. And I keep on talking. You've already sold me in the restaurant. Just enough.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency to over talk or just so. With Amazon, they're going to be watching it. If you have 4 minutes of content, guess what? They're going to watch all 4 minutes. If you have a minute, they're going to watch the minute. But so the longer you have, the more text, the more you can trip up, the more you're going to not necessarily lose them, but the more you're going to do wrong, possibly.
Yep. So
when
it's just like
long footage.
Loading the 3 videos. You can load 10 videos if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to have them look over 10 videos for mistakes, that would be crazy. 3 is what you need. Do 3 videos. Do 3 short, to the point, and then we're going to go over some details on what not to put in the video. There's a lot to not put in the video. It's easy to, some of this stuff's like, it's pretty obvious. Some of this stuff may not be obvious to you. So just pay attention to this next part, and we're going to go over that with you.
And guys, please don't wing it. just to remind you, you only have 3 chances per social media platform. So we're dealing with some people. He's got one thing, as far as we know. He's got a solid YouTube account. He's got 3 or 4 or 5,000, which is pretty solid for a YouTube account these days, right? And once he blows through, he's on try 2. Once he blows through the 3rd try, he's toast until he can get another account going. Now, we're helping people to start from scratch as well. It's not all isn't over. It's just a pain in the butt having to start from scratch, and it is demoralizing because you want to start making money. So just please listen to our advice. Do we know exactly everything? No, but if you err on the side of caution and do what you're saying, you have a lot higher chance of getting in. Okay, so real quick, this is directly from Amazon. This is videos in general, but if they're saying this if Amazon's saying it, it's important. So there's a lot of stuff here. I'm going to go through this really quickly. Okay, so one thing is, don't have any external links in any of your stuff. So in your videos, like, what does that mean? Well, you might have a link in there in the video possibly, or you might have you might have a link somewhere in your title. This is also probably related to if you're doing, I don't know. I mean, other Amazon Associates type things.
One thing, can you put all of this actual stuff in the show notes so
absolutely,
people don't have to try to take notes on the podcast while they're driving? Yeah,
their example is calls to action that ask viewers to take actions on other sites. They don't like that, okay? So do not do that, no matter. And most likely in the videos, you're going to be saying something. Check out our social media site, or you can look at this here, or don't do that. Don't ever have them go somewhere else. Accurately tagging products. Yeah, most of the time, the best practice is tag one product that's exactly what you're promoting. Don't tag multiple products. And then please do not do 5 of the same videos and tag different products, because that's a no-no, especially if you only have one product in there. Yeah, so do not ask viewers to perform actions that are unsupported by the Amazon video player, such as follow, subscribe, or leave a comment. Don't say that. Don't say, hey, like my video, or I have a social media. I got into the social media site, so yeah, make sure to like that. The improvement channel or something.
Check out my YouTube channel.
Do not do that. Don't talk about prices. I even caught myself the other day doing a video. I had to edit it out saying, oh, it's a pretty value price for this monitor. I'm like, it's a good deal on this. It's only $100. But I caught myself saying it. So don't say that, because it's not always gonna be $100, and that's not why Amazon just doesn't want you doing it.
Don't allow it.
Don't ask viewers to leave a 5-star review or anything like that.
Don't ask for a thumbs up on the review.
And I'm gonna go through these really quickly. Yeah, exactly. There's other stuff about don't do supplements, don't do health products in your first few videos, because it's very difficult not to say like, hey, this really helped me feel better. It's like I lost weight or something. Amazon will just no, they'll just go, you're done. Even the product itself, be really careful. Even doing vitamin C, I did vitamin C or something. That wasn't my first 3 videos. Don't do health products, don't do supplements, don't make claims. And you're like, this will help you. If you do this, this will happen to you. You will feel better.
It's just going to be so hard to do a video on something like that, because it's all about claims.
Right, they have a ton of stuff about false medical claims. I'm just scrolling through here. So just don't do health products, right? So is it okay to do this maybe later on once you're approved? Maybe. You can experiment, but you'll find out. But it's just your first 3, make it easy stuff. A mug or something like that. That's so safe. It's so easy.
You make a good point there. It's like later on, once you get past these 3, if your video gets rejected, it's just like, oh, it got rejected and here's why. So now you can delete it. You can change it. I had the same video rejected several times. I'm like, you're giving out personal information. I'm like, what are you talking about? I had put painter's tape over a license plate, and you could see that license plate in the video with painter's tape over it for just like a half a second. If the painter's tape wasn't on it, guarantee you couldn't read it. Yeah. But their system sees the license plate and says license plate rejected. So I went back in, I cut out that 1.5 seconds on that scan, and it went right through. That's no problem later. So I just don't want you to think oh wow, this program is just impossible. We're saying, hey, get this all right for that 3 videos. Once you get the 3 videos in, you can sit back and relax a little. Right. I would want to get a bunch of good videos out and be valuable to them. Yeah. But later on, it isn't so strenuous.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through some things from our experience that are outside of what Amazon may have said here. But I want to read this last thing here. And this is a little bit, you just got to remember, this is Amazon's playground, right? So this is their playground. So if they can do whatever they want to. And so this is a little bit sobering when we read this, but I get it, why they say it. But keep it. This is a privilege for us to be on this. Okay, just remember that.
Yeah.
Amazon. Well, I'll read this real quick. Amazon will protect the customer experience, and in doing so, will reflect the spirit, not merely the letter of this content policy. Amazon reserves the right to suspend or terminate your account, or pause or remove any content that we deem to be negatively affecting the viewer experience. Okay, so remember this. It's all about their customer experience. They have millions of customers. That's the most important thing to Amazon, because if they don't have customers, they don't have a business. So just remember that. If they're going to allow you on there, you need to do everything you can to make sure the customer experience is positive. Okay, just remember that. That's the high level idea here. When people are trying to circumvent the system, they're not going to be around for long. Oh, I got away with it. You may get away with it for a little while, but not for long. So remember this. Don't cut corners. If you want to cut corners, then you're not going to have your account, at least in your mind. Don't be surprised if you lose your account. So keep that in mind, or not get approved in the first place.
Funny thing, I think we've mentioned this in previous videos, so I won't dwell on it, but there was a guy, I saw his videos and so many of my postings. I'm like, man, this guy's everywhere. So I started watching a couple of his videos. And it's like, oh, he's taken a picture and got it where he's made it a movie where it's moving around a little bit. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is cool. You ought to check this out. I think you'll like it. That was his on every one of them. And eventually, like, I looked at it later, a couple weeks later, and it looked like they'd taken him down.
Yeah, so if you see stuff, just because someone's stuff is still up doesn't mean it's okay.
Yes,
so
correct.
There's this guy has all these videos with a little screenshot of his product with AI, like an AI, guy talking. They've gotten away for a little while. I guarantee you they're not going to be around for long. So don't, just because someone's doing it, don't. And if someone is telling you on YouTube, just do this, proceed with caution. Jim and are not, and I are not. We're ethical people. We're not going to tell you to do something that we don't think is right. Okay, so. And I'm very conservative. He's probably less conservative than me. Not probably, he is. But I think it's probably good that we're together, because I'm very conservative about certain things. Okay, I will fish sometimes where it's maybe I don't see a no trespassing sign, even though it's probably private property.
Actually fishing, right?
Yeah, fishing. Yeah, not PH, but FI. Yeah, I'll do that sometimes. But when it comes to things like this, be really careful. Okay. Absolutely. All right, guys. Let's go through a couple other things here. And guys, I'm sorry. I do talk fast sometimes, so just bear with me here. I get excited. So every once in a while, Jim might, slow down, man, slow down. So I get excited sometimes, and just keep that in mind. All right. So the big thing is, and we're not sure about this. This might be big. Is I say, hey, this is Andrew. Today I'm going to be reviewing this. He says this is.
Hey, it's Jim Ed with the Improvement Channel. Today we're going to take a look at.
Right. We said this on, I think, all of our videos.
Now, I will say this before you get into this. I did name my Amazon store Jim Ed at the Improvement Channel for a reason, because I did want to say that at the first of all of my videos, just to kind of promote the brand. So I don't know if that kind of like ties in and works. Probably does.
And mine's my last name. So what's weird about it is this person we're helping said, your video has personally identifiable information in it. And then the only thing we could think of, he said his first name. And which is a little bit weird, but it may be triggering something.
Especially with his name being Jimmy, that's going to be pretty hard to track down.
Yeah.
Just by the first name.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but we're just guessing right now. But for the first three, maybe to err on the side of caution, don't say your name. Okay, don't say your name on the first three. I did hear this somewhere else on a YouTube channel or a Facebook post or something, that someone else got caught up in that as well. And then this is just common sense things to do in any video, but make sure the product is easy to see in the video. Don't be too far back away from it. They want to see the product. They don't want to see you. All right, it's like maybe it doesn't really matter. Like, it's great to be on camera. Whether your face is on camera or not, it doesn't really matter, what I've seen. Horizontal or vertical, I've heard mixed things as well. That doesn't matter as far as approval. What is it better in some cases?
Go horizontal.
What's that?
Go horizontal.
He says go horizontal, but there's other cases where Inspire, Amazon has a new social thing called Inspire. Guess what? Those are vertical they're keeping. So we might disagree a little bit with that. I usually do horizontal now too. But as far as being approved, it doesn't really matter. These are other things here. I'm trying to think. I'm just going to hit the things that are the most important thing. Yeah, the general things, show the product in action, talk about likes and dislikes, make sure your audio, I'm going to say audio is pretty important. That's going to be something like if they can't hear you, or it's very difficult, it's windy, and it's in and out, that could be a real problem, right?
Yeah.
So the things that you do, the best practices as far as like make sure to say likes and dislikes and negatives and positives, that's not going to get you approved or disapproved. It's just it's about maybe it's not best, but if the sound is bad, it could really very well not let you get in.
Just take a few minutes, get the sound right. A lot of this is easy, especially if you're somewhat of an influencer, and that's who they're looking for. They're looking people that's got a little bit of experience in front of the camera, that knows how to set up. We've got lighting set up here. If you're watching this on YouTube, it probably looks okay. You know, it looks good enough.
Yeah.
You're not looking for studio production. You're looking for good enough. But let's go ahead and take an extra couple of minutes and go, oh, well, no, let's go shoot this in front of the window with the natural light coming in, or let's shoot this outside if it's not windy. But Andrew's exactly right. You know, the audio is very important. If it's windy and you're hard to hear, nobody likes to watch that, and they're probably going to go, nah, we don't need them.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing is, and this is this is just things we're hearing. We don't know for sure, but it seems like in some cases, let's go through the whole thing. You get approved. You get approved with your social media account. It's a new account. It's a newer account. You get approved. Maybe you did some advertising. You got 2,000 or 3,000, enough to get in. You're excited, and then you're like, okay, cool. I can leave my account alone. I can get my videos uploaded. You upload your videos. Your videos are on point. They're great. Jim and I would look at them and say they look great. But then you get this. It's unapproved. It's like, sorry, it's rejected, and you can't figure out the videos are not the quality that we're looking for. You're like, what do you mean? What's wrong with it? It could possibly be your social media account. They may have looked at your videos and said they're fine, but the social media account, it looks really new and there's no content that's been added to it. We're concerned. It looks like they just tried to get approved with a new account and just forgot about their social media account. They're not an influencer. These are not an influencer. These are just somebody who just tried to do a quick, click social media account to get in. So if you have a brand new account or a very new account, or maybe you're even reconfiguring or redoing you're renaming a social media platform you've had from years ago, make sure to add some content to it. Not just all in one day, but continue to add content probably for at least a few months. Not like constantly, but I've got a tip from someone who said basically you can get a Fiverr where you can just get, and this is legit, okay, you can just get posts that they'll give you on a certain area. If you're in the niches kayaking or something, there's already done for you videos that you can just use as part of and repurpose and put on your Facebook or put on your Instagram. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of stuff out there you can use. So am I positive about this? I'm not positive. However, when you have a new page, make it look natural, make it look like you're building this up. So that's important.
I'll add to that. It's like when you jump on Facebook Marketplace and you think, is this a scam? And you look at the profile of the person, and they haven't posted for 3 years, and then you look down the thing and they've posted 5 times over the last 4 years. It's like, this is a scam. So, Amazon's looking at the same thing. If it's not a human looking at it, they quickly have that algorithm that's just taking a look and going, no, I don't think so.
Right. There's more to this, but I hope this helps. I hope you can feel informed. Let's just recap real quick. When you're doing your 3 videos, get in, get out, okay? Make them short. Don't say your name. I'm trying to think what else. Don't
do a product that's going to have medical claims to it. Just first 3, steer away from that. You can do it later if you want to.
Don't show any sort of barcodes, and if anything, if possible, if you have the box that the product comes in, show the product itself. Don't show the box, because there's usually barcodes on it. They're not. That can be considered personally identifiable information.
License plates or personal identification, names. Just know what's in the background of whatever you're shooting.
Don't say I got this on Amazon also. Don't say I got this on Amazon. Don't mention prices, all those things. Okay? Make sure it sounds good. So lots of things. There's probably 5 or 6 things there. I know it sounds overwhelming, but just don't say too much. Talk about the product and keep it simple.
Yeah,
okay?
do the other stuff later. It's like, this right here is pretty simple. There's nothing behind us. You may want to again, check us out on YouTube, because I'm assuming you're watching us, but there's nothing behind us here. You may want to get up against a wall, get some good light, get close. If you can get your camera where it's not like zooming to see you and the camera's far away, if that's where you're collecting your audio from your phone like I do for these videos, get it where it's panned out as far as possible so you can get the camera closer to you so it can pick the audio up better if you're not using an external mic. Just keep it simple. I'm outside shooting videos. Mine are more based on outside stuff. And I'm catching license plates. I'm moving trash cans in front of license plates so they don't get caught. Don't even get into that with your first 3. Keep it simple. Keep it short.
And some of you guys too, when you first do a video, I know it's weird, you're just doing it by yourself. You're gonna be a little nervous. You're like, your voice is shuddering a little bit, and you know what happens is you're gonna be shaking a little bit. You're gonna be moving your camera. So if you're shaking around a little bit, I don't know, calm yourself down. Maybe don't have so much caffeine that day, or hold it. Just hold it with 2 hands. I've noticed that.
Or get a gimbal.
Or get a gimbal,
help.
or just mount it,
or get somebody else to hold it for you.
Get someone else to hold it for it, but that it can be really distracting when your camera. And I've seen some of my older videos, and it's shaking around. Like, man, it makes you dizzy. But is that going to get you? Is that going to prevent you from getting approved? Probably not. It's not helping you.
It's probably.
It's not. It's probably. It's not helping.
You got to cut out all those little things that's going to keep you from getting in over somebody else.
Okay.
And you know, one person might be like, hey, you know, I'm letting everybody in. Somebody else is looking at them going, so, you know, just keep all that in mind.
That's a huge thing as well. Yeah, you have to raise your expectations, elevate your game to the most strict of a reviewer. So just keep that in mind. Do a really good job with the sound and the video quality, all that, but don't over-engineer it and try too hard to make it perfect.
That and we've watched a couple of actually like seasoned guys that's done videos do these videos, and when you're new at this, it's your first 3 videos, this is what you're going to do. And here's one thing to avoid: don't overdo it. Don't overtalk it. Get the points together, and you don't need to even make notes on it. You really need to get the points together that you can remember. Go, this is what I'm going to hit. This was, if you remember previous podcast, what questions about the product? Answer those questions. Answer things that are not on the listing. Get in, get out. Okay, but bring value. Here's what I see. The guys that are doing it, again, they know what they're doing. They're smart guys. They're good at this. But this is their first one, and they're wanting to really put a nice review out. So they're really trying to cover like everything that you'd want to know. Hit some good points, maybe answer a question that maybe they didn't know, and get out of there. Get it to a minute and get out. Don't do the 4-minute video.
Yeah, so I know we're going to talk about this more next week, because the video stuff is so important. We want to spend a lot of time on this, but this is something that we're near and dear to our heart, is side hustles in general. So I know this is probably a whole podcast. In fact, next week, let's just plan on talking more about side hustles in general. So here's what we want to talk about. Side hustles. Why should you have them? How many should you have? What's good and bad about side hustles? So Jim Ed, I know you've been doing side hustles for a while. I've been doing side hustles probably since the late 90s, believe it or not. Believe it or not, I've been doing them for a long time, and we just have he and I have this desire just to, like, it's just fun. It's part of who we are. I've been doing them for so long. Let's talk about some of those things. Yeah, Jim Ed, let's lead with this. So tell me about why. What was your motivation for doing your side hustle, your first side hustle in the first place?
I think it's like scratches the itch of wanting to kind of own your own business to a degree. You really are kind of a business owner, but kind of. You don't have all of the risk that comes along with owning a business. Usually if you've got a W-2 job, you've got insurance, you got a lot of boxes checked, you've got steady check coming in every so often that's for the most part reliable, you know that's coming. And then the side hustle part is just like an opportunity, like where can I maximize my time? Where can I get a lot of bang for my buck on the time? Where can I fill a niche of something that needs to be done that's not being served out there?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there's just some basic things with side hustles in general, but one of the things is just basically bring in more income, right? Mm-hmm. So who doesn't want to make more money? So that's definitely something that I think anyone would probably agree. Why are you doing a side hustle? Is it possible? Yeah, people do volunteer, obviously, right? Would you call that a side hustle? Probably not. It's probably called a volunteer job.
Yeah.
I think side hustle usually means to me that you're bringing in some money. So some other things, and feel free to chime in. We'll go back and forth on this.
One thing about that really quick.
Yeah.
Some of the hobbies I do, it's like, okay, well, I like woodworking. I like welding. I'd like to do more of that. Well, let's tie that into how we can go ahead and make some money around that. A lot of people are like, I like my hobbies is I like to play golf. Well, that's going to be a stretch to be making money playing golf unless you're really good at it. But, I that's just like, I look at it and I go, okay, yeah, I would enjoy doing that. How can I do it just a little different and make money at it?
Yeah, it's a good point. And, I've got some hobbies that make no money at all, but sometimes those hobbies, like you said, can make money. I do kayaking and do fishing. Is it possible down the road maybe I could start doing some videos around fishing or sell some affiliate products around fishing? For sure, yeah. But that's something. But it's sometimes nice to have something that's independent. You don't have to even worry about making money. You just want to do it for fun. I think in a lot of ways my side hustles have been a hobby. I really have enjoyed doing it. So it gets a little bit muddy sometimes, but that's a main reason for doing it. You really want to enjoy what you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's not just this grind. You're already working hard. I say a lot of people have their full-time jobs. That's why you call it side hustle. If your side hustle is going to be a grind just like your day job sometimes, it's not fun anymore, and that's why people get burned out. You have to see some fun in it. You have to kind of say, this is a lot of fun. We're learning some new things. Yeah, go ahead, Jim Ed.
Yeah, I was able to kind of justify. We made a move last year. We moved 3 miles down the road to a piece of property that had a workshop on it. So, it's a nice 1,200 square foot workshop now. I've added air conditioning and insulation to it and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So, that kind of that's kind of due to side hustles. It's again a hobby thing. I want a nice shop. I want a nice shop to have. But now I've got a nice shop, and it even goes even further. Now I've got more room to do more side hustle stuff. Right. I'm looking at this place going, with your situation on the Fulfilled by Amazon, if you had a 1,200 square foot shop warehouse space that was air conditioned where you could do your fulfillment stuff, it really would be a game changer in how much you could, amplify your profits and business.
And less complaints from the wife as well.
Yeah.
Developing skills is a huge part. So skills that could very well help you with your day job, and just secondly, you're just learning something new, and those skills can turn to something else. So I think we found that of all my side hustles, whether it's with work or my main job or side hustles, some of the things that we're doing now, they're kind of coming naturally. You're already doing videos for your improvement channel on YouTube. I've done some videos for other things I'm doing, social media for some of my other websites I've got. So it kind of came natural to me. So you'll find that doors will open for other opportunities, which is really cool.
Well, this Amazon influence door opened for me. I was making hundreds of dollars a month, but not very much on my YouTube channel. And I'm making $150, $200 a month. The biggest month ever on YouTube was $450. I start this Amazon program. 3rd month in, I've got a check for $6,000 that'll be coming to me soon. That opened the door, absolutely. Yeah. That YouTube channel, driving that for 4 years, and really making hardly any money on it.
That's it.
Opened the door for the Amazon deal.
That's it.
You just never know. This podcast may open the door for something one day. We may get into something else on it. You never know.
And we've already met some new people from doing this podcast, from doing this side hustle. So that's another thing too. You'll meet a ton of people, and guess what? Those people provide opportunities for even more things. I've got, with a few of my side businesses, I've got people that I'm starting to do things with. I'm starting to work out some deals. So sometimes they'll kind of hit you over the head all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, you just bump into it, a huge opportunity. Sometimes it just takes a little while, but I've been around. Cut that. Okay.
Yeah, so if you've got a good opportunity for us, just go ahead and email us. And also, don't forget, if you want to be a part of this podcast, maybe you've got some questions to contribute, some thoughts, be sure and email us. Heck, you may even be a guest on the podcast at some point.
So let's go ahead. It's a good time to tell them about where they can reach us.
So Side Hustle Heroes HQ, you can catch us on our Facebook page. Go on there, like the page, be part of the group, ask your questions. You can find us there, Side Hustle Heroes HQ on YouTube, also on Spotify and other podcast platforms.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, and so this is pretty important here. So sometimes a side hustle can turn to your full-time income. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about this today, but remember last week I was saying that a lot of times your day job, it's going to be more stable. You get that stable income coming in. But this is the thing I was going to mention, that about 24 hours after my podcast last week, I was actually, they had a layoff in my company, and I was part of that layoff. So it just happened just like that. And it was a little bit of a shocker for sure. But what did I do? Instead of freaking out and saying, oh my gosh, going a tailspin, how am I going to get another job? I started thinking, oh my gosh, I have a lot of things I want to do in my side hustle. There are so many things I haven't gotten to lately because I've just been busy with my day job. So now, all of a sudden, and the good thing about this is now I'm going to spend a lot more time on this side hustle over the next few months. So this is going to be great because I'm going to be spending a lot more time. I'll have a lot more stories to tell, and hopefully a lot more success stories to tell you guys.
Yeah, so, I was telling Andrew when he called me, it's a bit of a bummer. I mean, gosh, I hated it to hear it. But he had a good attitude about it. It's not all is lost when you've already got a pretty successful side hustle going. And back when the world was going crazy back in 2020, I was in the same situation as him. I ended up getting laid off as well, and I had never been fired or laid off from a job and working more than 20 years. And it was a little bit of a shock. But I told him when I heard his news, I said, man, here's what I did. I was like, all right, well, how can I turn this into a positive? How can I go out and make more money than I was making with my side hustles and my jobs? And I did. I was doing a lot of welding at the time. Luckily for me, I got laid off in March. Andrew, you've actually gotten laid off at a pretty good time of the year. Sometimes, of course, now Andrew's side hustles, the holidays are usually a bigger time, but when you're doing welding and stuff, people aren't going, oh, hey, it's almost Halloween. We'd like to go get our stuff fixed up before the holidays. Once October hits, a lot of that slows way down until about February or March of the next year. So I got laid off in March. I had a full 90 days of just work. I was working 5-6 days a week. I was making more money than I'd ever made before during that 90 days. And then I worked for a manufacturer, and one of my customers found out that I got laid off, and he like, hey, you need to come work for us, and I did, and that was really good. But just want to say, hey, look, have a side hustle, try to make it successful, and like Andrew here, he's got a couple successful side hustles. Now he's going to throw some gasoline on those by having a full work week to work on it. And I've been talking to Andrew throughout the week, and I know that he's actually probably been working a little bit more than he used to right now because he's trying to get his side hustles up to being a full-time income.
So my laptop that I was using for work, I turned that in to my office, my local office, and I took my PC that's out in the other room where I usually just do my side hustle stuff, put that right in my office, and now this is it. It's like a full-time position. So it's almost like I just got a new job. Literally hours after I was laid off, I'm up and running with my side hustle, taking it seriously, realizing, you know what, was it a hobby before? Maybe it was, but now it's a full-time job as far as I'm concerned.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this, so I know a lot of people in your life is like, hey, you light up. Your dad's like, and Andrew's dad. I've met Andrew's dad. I don't know him real well, but he doesn't. He from our conversations, he's not the kind of guy that would say, hey, why don't you just go do your side hustle?
Right.
But he was like, hey, you really light up about this. Have you thought about going and doing your side hustle full time? And I know that it's been almost a week since you got laid off. Where are you at on that? What are you thinking? Are you actively looking for jobs? How hard are you wanting to find another job? What's that looking like for you?
Yeah, so I was cool with my dad too. My dad's very traditional. He's a professor. He's a retired professor. He stayed one place for his entire career. So and he's always
my dad did too, man. Yeah. That's just something that's changed. You don't do that anymore.
But it's amazing. He goes, you have that glimmer in your eye when you're talking about your side stuff. It's like, and have you thought about making this full-time, taking the next level? And I said, absolutely, I have. But it's a very encouraging conversation with my dad for sure. But yeah, so what am I thinking? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and apply to the traditional jobs. I'm in marketing research. I mentioned this last podcast. So I'm definitely going to apply for jobs. But anyone who, for my level right now, it's going to take a while to get another job. Probably minimum of 3 months. So I'm hesitant. Like, what's the word? I'm applying for positions. Do I really want to go back into that? Part of me does for money, but my heart is really saying, let's turn the side hustle into full-time income. Okay, so that's what I really want to do, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna hustle. I'm a hustle. I mean, actually, usually I work weeknights and weekends in the morning even sometimes, and on my side hustle. Now I'm kind of doing now I'm working all day long, and I'm also spending some time weekends, at least for the time being, because I need to push this forward.
But it's easier when it's fun, isn't it?
It's easier when it's fun, and that's the thing. So a few more things, and we can probably talk about this next week as well, but some of the negatives, and I think we both experienced it a little bit. Our wives are awesome. Both of our wives are amazing
Absolutely.
Women. But even more so in my case, there's no interest at all about my side hustle. Not to say that she doesn't like what I'm doing. It's just not her thing. So the main thing she wants is like, Andrew, it's fine for you to be doing your side hustle. I just need you to spend some time with me sometimes. I want you to be respectful of things that we need to do together. I don't want you to just let everything, just all your other responsibilities at home just fall by the wayside. And then when we have one night of the week that's kind of our date night, we hang out. That's reserved for that. So there's boundaries, and I like that my wife has kind of given some boundaries and said, I'm fine with this. And another thing too, not talking about it so much with her, realizing that, this is a whole relationship thing in general. No one wants to hear you talk about yourself the whole time, especially something they're not interested in. So with her, I've really kept it to a minimum, and we talk about things that we both want to talk about. So that's what I've done, and it's gone pretty well. There's some times I need some gentle reminders, or maybe not so gentle sometimes from my wife, but it's true. And so now I think she realizes, okay, you're going to have a lot more time to work on this now. She's like, look, I think if it makes money, great, but keep applying for the full-time positions, and that's what I'm doing, and I think that's what I'm up to right now. So feel free to we can close this section with your experience with your wife.
Yeah, same sort of thing. My wife is helping me with this some. She's holding the camera a lot. She's actually even been in the videos some. Not her favorite thing to be in the videos, but she is, I think, warming up to it, that it's not that big a deal. Yeah, and you just got to have some balance there. You do have to spend the time, and it's easy. It's like, hey, it's easy to go, oh, wow, it's 9 p.m. and I'm out here in the shop still. I need to probably get in the house and spend a little more time with the family. And it's easy to go, hey, I'm in a ramp-up period. I got 185 videos. We need to get to whatever, 500-600, to really make this more than just a little side hustle. So it's easy to go, hey, I'm in the ramp-up period. But if you're not careful with the work-life balance, you stay in the ramp-up period. We're just ramping up forever. So, have some balance in that. And one other thing is, we can't ask for likes and all that on the Amazon reviews, but we can ask for it here. So make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Leave us a comment. It helps us a ton, even if it's a little comment. Hey, guys, doing great. Or, hey, guys, we hate your podcast, but I'm watching it anyway. Whatever it looks like.
And if you're going to do one thing coming out of this, join our Facebook group. That's the way we can keep in touch with you later. We've had some people certainly joining the Facebook group. Mm-hmm. Come and join. We're still in the early days of this, okay? So, but don't look at, they don't have thousands of people yet. Just join the group, okay?
You're going to get lots of attention if you want it in the group.
And if you give us your email address, you will get a free PDF with some quick tips for getting started with Amazon Influencer and being successful with it as well. So keep that in mind. Well, great podcast. Let's go ahead and, just as a sneak peek for next week, we'll continue talking about the side hustle, the work-life balance. I think, we'll definitely have some more things to talk about. I think the main thing is side hustle, sorry, I'm just drawing my blank again. The work-life balance is so important, and then knowing when to push and when to back off from this. Only you know yourself, but if you feel like you're getting burned out, then take a step back. I understand sometimes when you're running a marathon, you have to push through some tough times. It is good to push, but make sure you have a life to live. Let's talk about that next week, because that's an important reason for doing it. But
let me
if
add
you're chasing money,
little thing there.
You can get let's talk.
One little thing he mentioned there. This has not been a good week for me as far as getting videos posted.
Yeah,
I've been busy with a lot of other things. But you know what? I gave you my numbers for last week. What did $600 something dollars for the week? Yep. That's the nice thing about this. You kind of get that ball rolling, and then if you're not pushing that ball for a week or maybe 2 or 3 even, it's still rolling. You're still making some money on it. So encourage you, get with this program. It's a good one.
Awesome. Yeah, and so this is my last thought about that is, we can talk about money all day long, like chasing money, the American dream, all those things. That's a recurring theme, I think, in my life. And it's great to make money and to have nice things, but I think there's times when we can push too far. So I've really had to balance myself and realize money is not everything. The most important thing in my life is God and its relationships. So I need to continue to remind myself that that's the most important thing in my life, no matter what happens. So
next week Andrew's going to do a half an hour on contentment.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys. So hey, good stuff. So we don't talk about our email address a lot, but we already talked about the social media platforms. But check us out, Side Hustle Heroes HQ. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page.
At Gmail.
And our Gmail account is sidehustleheroeshq@gmail.com. Hit us up. And it's good to see people watching our podcast. Every week we see more and more people watching the podcast.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
And subscribe. So Spotify we're different places, but go on Spotify. Just make sure to subscribe because that way you'll be notified. We're at a weekly cadence. There might be some times when we have more than that. We may skip some eventually, but just because we're traveling, never. We're going to do this no matter what.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
yeah. Anyway, really appreciate the opportunity for us to do this. Please watch. Please enjoy. Listen in your car. Whatever it is you want to do. However you want to listen to us. We really do appreciate it.
Or
don't. Or don't. Yeah.
All right, cool.
And we'll see you next week. Good job, Janed.
Good job, Andrew.
All right, bye-bye.
See ya.